Hi folks, it's James here. How you all doing? It's Friday evening, got the wine poured. Just a quick video deeper into the 1970s. My last Vinyl Finds video was showing some records that I picked up in 2020 so far, all of which came from the 1970s, and this is the next batch. So in the background, I showed this in my last video. This is the Autobahn album. Great stuff, great African funk, recorded in London, I think in the early 1970s. Great stuff, lots of funky flutes. I showed this record, but not in a Vinyl Finds video. I showed it last year in a video I made about grails, and I realised that I'd not shown it in a Vinyl Finds video. You know, as people, there are people out there who will only tune in to watch Vinyl Finds videos, won't have seen that particular video, so I thought I'd show it again. This is a German copy of Autobahn, which I found in my local antiques centre last year. This was a record that I've been hunting down for many years, but I never particularly thought I would ever get a German copy of it, so that was absolutely splendid. I was absolutely thrilled to get that. Now, last weekend at my local market stand at Hightside Records, I found another Kraftwerk. This is Man Machine. This is a Fame reissue, I think. I seem to remember. Yeah, it's a Fame reissue, so you know, not ideal, but certainly a nice thing to find. It was a really good price, and so yeah, I've now got two Kraftwerk albums on vinyl. So yeah, the Robots, Space Lab, Metropolis, absolutely classic German electronica. Just going to turn Autobahn down very slightly. Okay, so this was a purchase from last weekend. Thrilled to find this. This is a twofer, and it is a twofer of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Beard of Stars, and then flip it over as if by magic, we have Unicorn. So these are two very early albums, obviously. I do have Beard of Stars already. I've got a fairly battered original version of that, but it was nice to get Unicorn, not an album I'd heard before. And good fun to get it in a classic twofer, and it comes with these great old scratchy old inners with a fly on the label there. And let me quickly show you one of the records so you can see the label. It's on this brown label with a fly in a cube. Intriguing. Unicorn is just absolutely off its rocker. It's just kind of that really strange kind of elf folk, psychedelic, really strange lyrics, just amazing stuff. You know, what an original songwriter he was. What I love about this album though, it's got a brilliant spoken word thing by John Peel, which is just, again, just completely off its head. Some really just strange lyrical poetry, very, very psychedelic, and he's just got this really mannered kind of English voice. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, thrilled to get that. Twofer, T-Rex, or Tyrannosaurus Rex, should I say, Unicorn, and Beard of Stars. Okay, moving swiftly on. So another kind of a bit of a grail, really. I know that word is overused, but I found at Hightside Records market stand last Saturday a copy of this, and this was, I think this was £10, but I was willing to pay for it. Devo, Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. Never owned a Devo record in my life before, and this one is in excellent condition. And yeah, on the Green Virgin label from 1978, so doesn't need too much introduction from me. Incredibly influential, kind of edgy American new wave band, fond of wearing boiler suits on stage. Yeah, really chuffed to find that. Haven't played it yet, looking forward to giving it a spin, hopefully later tonight. Again from Hightside Records. This one is an artist whose work I have been starting to collect in recent times. This is Bill Nelson and Sound on Sound. Bill Nelson's Red Noise, shall I say. I think this must come from after he split up Bebop Deluxe. So Bill Nelson and Bebop Deluxe were a kind of classic British prog pop band in the 1970s. You know, they were always on the old Grey Whistle Test and those kind of shows. Strange kind of, I don't know, very experimental pop music, very kind of left field, very strange lyrics, absolutely brilliant guitar player. but always very edgy, quite a kind of anti-commercial sound. And my understanding is that when Bill Nelson went solo, part of the reason was he wanted to go down an even more kind of anti-commercial avenue. I think some critics had started comparing him to David Bowie, and he didn't really like that, and he wanted to carve his own furrow. And this record is kind of classic late 1970s Bill Nelson, really. It's angular, it's edgy, it's quite metallic sounding, lots of kind of scrapey, abrasive guitar textures, highly treated vocals, you know, sort of melodic, but the songs don't exactly, you know, they're not catchy tunes or anything, but it's certainly a very interesting record. Bill Nelson's Red Noise from 1979. Okay, next one, just a cheap comp, but I'm going to include it because it was put together in the 1970s. This is Jackie DeShannon. What a beautiful cover that is. Great American singer-songwriter. The last band I was in, we used to do a version of When You Walk in the Room, which was done by the Searchers. I mean, that is a fantastic song. She was a great songwriter. On this record you've got some original songs, including that one. You've also got What the World Needs Now Is Love, which is a Bacharach and David song. Spectacularly great version of that. Great version of The Weight by the band. It doesn't really get much better, I don't think, than Jackie DeShannon doing Robbie Robertson. And yeah, just a really nice sounding record in great condition. And I picked that up for less than a £5. Jackie DeShannon, the very best of. Right, next one from the Antique Centre, my local Antique Centre, my first record by this guy. Heard a lot about him on the vinyl community over the years, but this is the first record by him that I've ever actually owned. This is Michael Nesmith. Very strange album title, From a Radio Engine to the Photon Wing, it's called. And it is from 1976, I think it is, or 1975 or 1976, mid-1970s. I had nothing by this guy in my collection at all, apart from a CD of the soundtrack to the movie Head by the Monkees, which is one of my favourite films and one of my most treasured soundtracks of all time. He's got a very unassuming quality to his voice. The songs are kind of country tinged pop music, kind of slightly middle of the road rock music, but really interesting songs, lyrically interesting, musically tasteful, but not in a kind of Muzak way. There's always enough interesting stuff going on. On the third listen, I was really starting to tap into the kind of vibe. Very intelligent songwriting, very chilled, but very intelligent. Just comes with an inner. So yeah, Michael Nesmith, my first record by him. Chuffed to get that. And also in the Antique Centre, another record that I've been looking for a while, and this one I kept seeing it and I kept leaving it there. I was being a bit sort of finicky about the condition, and this time I looked at it and I really thought I really want this record, and I spent quite a long time looking at the condition, and finally I decided it was going to be okay. I brought it home and gave it a clean, and it's fine. It's, you know, it's not spectacularly quiet, but it's good. It's, you know, it's all right. This is Lou Reed and Rock and Roll Animal live album. I know this album is, you know, really highly regarded. It's got some great performances on it, you know, really intense, vibey performances of some of his greatest songs. My favourite Velvet song is on here, that's Rock and Roll. So yeah, really chuffed to get that into the collection at long last. Lou Reed and Rock and Roll Animal. And the final one, this one for Richard McCook. I'm going to go and see this guy in October. He's coming to Lancaster to do a gig, and I'm going to go along to the Grand Theatre. This is Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, and this is maybe their second album, the Psychomodo, and this is kind of classic early 1970s alternative pop music. They had a very distinctive sound. They used violins and kind of Rhodes pianos instead of guitars. And very original sound, very original voice. I mean, Steve Harley's voice is sort of an acquired taste, really. He sings in this rather vinegary kind of tone, and it's got that kind of art school thing to it, you know. I think they were quite influential in later years. In fact, I think Richard McCook mentioned that Blur had been influenced by them, but they're very diverse. lyrically quite far out. So I found their first album a while ago, and I've got a comp as well. And Richard has now given me MP3s of all his latest solo work as well. So yeah, he's an artist that I'm finally starting to properly discover. And like I said, I'm going to go and see him play live in October, so that should be good fun. Steve Harley, Cockney Rebel. Right folks, that's your lot. Have a good weekend. See you soon. Bye bye.